A ball is thrown upward with an initial velocity of 32 feet per second from the edge of a cliff 240 feet above a beach. Use the function h of t equals negative 16t squared plus v sub 0 t plus s. A. How long will it take for the ball to land on the beach? We have our function that was provided, and we can rewrite it using the information in our problem. The initial velocity was 32, and the height above the beach was 240. So our new function would be h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 240. Since A asks when will it land on the beach, that means when would the height of that be 0? Since I want to find h of t equals 0, I can set the entire function to equal 0 and solve for t. Negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 240 equals 0. With these large numbers, one of the things that I can do is to factor out a negative 16. That will clear up that quadratic a little bit. So negative 16 times t squared minus 2t minus 15 equals 0. I can next divide both sides by the negative 16 so that all I'm left with is t squared minus 2t minus 15 equals 0. Now we can factor. The factor of that quadratic would be t minus 5 and t plus 3. With two factors, I can set each of those factors equal to 0. The left factor, t minus 5 equals 0, and the right factor, t plus 3 equals 0. Adding 5 to both sides, I get t equals 5. On the right, subtracting 3 from both sides, I get t equals negative 3. Since we're talking about the amount of seconds when it hits the beach, it doesn't make sense to have negative 3 seconds. But it does make sense to have 5. So my answer will be 5 seconds. B. When is the ball 192 feet above the beach? Again, for B, I want to use this modified function where I've substituted 32 in for my initial velocity and 240 in for my initial position. The question asks when will it be 192 feet? So in other words, when will this height equal 192? Another way to write that would be when would negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 240, when would that equal 192? If I move the 192 to the other side, I can get a modified quadratic. Negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 48 equals 0. And now I can solve this. Again, I can clean it up like the previous one by factoring out a negative 16. That will leave me t squared minus 2t minus 3 equals 0. I can eliminate the negative 16 by dividing it by both sides, giving me t squared minus 2t minus 3 equals 0. Next, let's factor this. This will factor to t minus 3 and t plus 1, again equal to 0. Setting each of these factors equal to 0, I get t minus 3 equals 0 and t plus 1 equals 0. Solving the left side, add 3 to both sides. T equals 3. For the right side, subtract 1. T equals negative 1. Again, since we're talking about the time, it wouldn't make sense to have negative 1 seconds, but it would to have 3 seconds. So the time that it would take for the height to reach 192 would be 3 seconds.